It is a beautiful Saturday day, ladies and gentlemen. Just got back from a long walk and ready to go through and hop in a fantasy football draft. But before we get into a draft, I know that the majority of us were talking yesterday in the live stream about the vote that they had on Underdog Fantasy for today to either have the free bet. You know, they've done a lot of free bets for the NBA playoffs where it'd be like Nikola Jokic with more than less than half a point, or the 100x bet, where it looks like most people voted for the 100x bet. So that's what they have here. So I kind of wanted to go through and create a little parlay with y'all where we can go ahead and we can pair two of these together and get a 10x, or we could do 5 of them together and do a 100x. You know what? To be honest with you, I usually like to keep it very simple. To be honest with you, I don't even take the more thans. I know everybody's going to say, Mason, you're an idiot. Jokic is clearly going to score 28 points. Usually I just go less thans. Instead of trying to chase the 100x, I'm just going to get a pretty strong bet in here. It will throw in the max. It'll just be $5, obviously, for the special one. And I believe that will be to win 50. So hopefully this is what we're rooting for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I probably won't even watch the game, but we will be rooting for them to not put up many points. But now let's have some real fun. Let's go ahead and let's get into a fantasy football draft on Underdog. We're going to be looking at the Puppy 2 here. You know, we're getting in a ton of these puppy drafts before this gets filled. And hell, it's been live for 2 days, and they've already had about 40,000 people enter into this. So, I mean, it's going to be filled, let's say, sooner rather than later. But regardless, going to be super happy to go through and hop in here. The Master is saying he likes the Jimmy less than 7.5 free throws. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Tobin says, just for the shirt, bro. Thank you. It's sick. LOL. Okay. Did the Flock shirts get in? Did the Flock and Underdog shirts get in? If y'all are getting your shirts today, please let me know. I sent out like maybe like 150 shirts on Monday. I mailed out maybe another 100 shirts or so a couple days ago. So yeah, any day now, people should be getting their Flock shirts. My man, if you just got yours, go through and send me a pic. I'd love to see it. And if y'all don't know how to get your Flock shirt, make sure you go through, and if you are a paid member of flockfantasy.com and you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, go fill out the Google form that we have in flockfantasy.com's Discord and just fill it out. Essentially tell me, okay, here's my email I signed up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. Here's my email that I have for a paid account on flockfantasy.com. That way I can go through and confirm, and then I'll go ahead and ship those out. Mark Award in this draft with us, and he is going to get Justin Jefferson at pick 3. Oh, dear God. A Real Royalty says, I'm in your draft. Let's go. I'm at 11. Happy to have you out here, my friend. Hayes in here at 10, as always. This is exciting. This is exciting. Cito says the games play tomorrow. Okay, I guess the NBA games play tomorrow. So yeah, you can go through and make sure y'all take advantage of that 100x bet sooner rather than later. We'll take Diggs. I've drafted a lot of stuff on Diggs, and you better believe I'm praying every night that DeAndre Hopkins is not going over to Buffalo. But yeah, Jefferson at 3 is crazy. Mark says, I already won this one, Mason. Might as well in the stream. Crazy to see Jefferson go that late. Prod in here as well. He's at pick 8 with us. Ooh, this is exciting. And real quick, just in case you don't know what we're doing here, of course, this is the same site that had the free boosted bet for y'all earlier. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. I know 99% of y'all are already on Underdog, but there's one caveman that just stumbled out of his cave and has no idea what's going on here. It's Underdog Fantasy. We're drafting the puppy. This is a $5 buy-in best ball tournament, so no time commitment at all during this season. How I drafted over 700 teams last year, won $150,000 on Underdog. You know I have to flex on you every video. And $5 buy-in, $1 million prize pool. First place, $150,000. Second place, $75,000. Available damn near every state. You can pause this really quick to see if it's available in your state. Yellow it is, gray it's not. Available in 90% of states. And when you use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a free trial to flockfantasy.com and my 2023 fantasy football rankings. Nick says, might get greedy and go for the 50x booster. In general, I'm never taking the pick'ems with NBA just because I don't know enough. And when they give us a free bet, I usually just pick 2 and go unders. I just go, less than points, because generally the public's on more than, and generally I feel like the less than's a better way to go. Okay. Teddy says Cup over Jefferson's just insane. I agree with you, my friend. We're going to go ahead. We're going to grab another wide receiver. We will take Jalen Waddle at 18. Very interesting spot, right? What I like taking Waddle here is we put ourselves in the position where we are able to go through and take Breece Hall in round 3. We're able to get Breece Hall. We're able to get Ramondre Stevenson if he's going to be the guy that makes it to us. So the Tyreek Hill team goes ahead and takes Devonta Smith here at 19. Surprised to see Smith go before Chris Olave. Generally, you're seeing Olave go before. Valid coming out with a donation. Thank you, my friend. Says, hey, Mason, I've found myself taking a ton of Zay Jones, Deonta Foreman, and Dalton Schultz recently. What are your thoughts? Are they justified picks? I find myself taking a decent amount of Zay Jones in these underdog drafts if I take Trevor Lawrence. In general, in the Zay Jones range, like we'll go through and look at the underdog ADP real quick. In my mind, I kind of prefer the other positions. I'll say he's a fine pick in terms of him compared to the other wide receivers. Like if you're looking at Zay Jones in comparison to Sky Moore or Darnell Mooney, sure, go Zay Jones there. But in general, I would probably rather have the running backs like Damian Harris, Khalil Herbert, Elijah Mitchell. Those are more so going to be the running backs that I'm taking there. Deonta Foreman, I find myself taking a decent amount of running backs in that range. And Schultz, it's sad to admit this. I really did not expect it to be the case, but Dalton Schultz is one of my most drafted tight ends, if not my most drafted tight end at this point. He just goes in a range where wide receivers so damn gross that it's like, okay, who else am I going to take here? Now, Mark says, no way he gets Olave and Jefferson. Well, he did, my friend. Mark Award out here with Jefferson, Olave, Derrick Henry out the gate. Oh my gosh. Sue, I'm jealous of you, my man. I'm happy for you, though. I'm happy for you. Okay. Mark says, I swear I have so much Derrick Henry. I have a lot of Derrick Henry as well, my man. Adam going through, taking 3 running backs out the gate with CMC, Pollard, and Ramondre Stevenson. Interesting thing to take note of. Let's swing this around. Deebo Samuel goes at 29. Deebo is not someone that we are going to be looking at. Okay, here. You know what? I'm just thinking out loud. 9 times out of 10, our plan is when we go wide receiver here, we are setting ourselves up with the ability to go Breece Hall. However, seeing Deebo and Calvin Ridley go, both wide receivers that usually go at the 3-4 turn, even if I would definitely rather have Breece Hall in a vacuum over DK Metcalf, specifically based off how this draft board's going, I think that we have a really good shot to get another running back on the way back around in the 4th round, whether that's ETN, Najee Harris, or Jahmyr Gibbs. We've heard rumors that Breece Hall is falling to the 4th round in some of these drafts, so maybe we're going to get him a little bit later. 9 times out of 10, we are planning on going Breece Hall round 3. The reason that we make that pivot is specifically because what these teams do here right before, where you see Deebo Samuel, where you see Calvin Ridley go off the board 29-30. So I think this may skew the running back room just a little bit, where we have a player like Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Breece Hall, maybe even making it back to us at 42. So interesting case. Of course, we're going to be testing some different things out, but yeah, let's go Metcalf here and see how it works out. Jack says 12-team half PPR tight end premium. Do I take Diggs and Jonathan Taylor for Chris Olave and Miles Sanders, or the 105 and 2024 first just for Olave, or should I stay put, teams in a little bit of a rebuild? First off, my man, thank you so much again for being a member of the flock and coming and hanging out with us. I will say, if you are a rebuilding roster, Diggs and Jonathan Taylor are not doing much for us, right? If you're rebuilding, I am not wanting to trade for Diggs and JT, even if the price point looks appealing. I would sell Olave for the 105 as well as the 2024 first on a rebuilding roster in particular. I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of Chris Olave. I love me some Chris Olave. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be looking at the 105, there you're going to be getting CJ Stroud. There you're going to be getting Jahmyr Gibbs. There you're going to get Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're getting an extremely strong prospect in a super flex league and plus the 2024 first just gives you so much flexibility. Okay. So this team here, Liddish, hasn't taken a wide receiver, so you assume they have to go wide receiver here, right? Could be wrong, but we'll see. Jeep Guy says he's only going to expect 50K from Mark winning this draft. So Liddish decides to pass on wide receiver as well. Very interesting. So maybe we read the room wrong. Maybe we made the wrong decision to go ahead and take DK Metcalf. Thought we were going to be in a good spot to get either Najee or ETN on the way back around. 9 times out of 10 in these underdog drafts, if you're looking at a team like this that has 0 wide receivers through the first 3 rounds, you're not expecting them to go with another running back. So in general, I think we clearly, at this point, made the wrong decision because we read the room wrong. Generally, we are expecting that kind of value. But, okay, are we just going to go ahead and take another wide receiver here? The quarterbacks are on this side of the board, so I've taken a lot of Mike Williams, haven't taken much Keenan Allen. We'll go ahead and we will take Keenan with the expectation that we're going to get a quarterback on the way back around in round 5. That guy most likely being Justin Herbert. But Scorp says going ETN there makes no sense. Maybe if they really want to try to get a unique build, right, where they want to go through and they want to just take, a super fragile approach where they're only going to draft Eckler, Barkley, and ETN, and then just try to hammer in 10 wide receivers through the rest of this draft. Maybe it does. I don't want to go through and say, oh, yeah, no, horrible pick because we wanted him to fall to us. I feel like it would be a little, I don't know. Maybe me just trying to, I don't know. Anyway, Teddy coming out says, 32-team Dynasty Superflex League. I have Jacobs, Pollard, Rachaad White at running backs, but Addison, Tank Dell as my wide receivers. Should I try to trade Jacobs for a good wideout? In general, if you're looking at a 32-team league, I know some 32-team Dynasty leagues, you only have to start 1 running back, but if you have to start 2 RBs and 2 wide receivers, getting a depth wide receiver is going to be much easier than getting a running back that you can reasonably start, because if you're playing in a 32-team league, that means from a week-to-week perspective, you're going to have to go through and you're going to have to see 64 players starting in your league. 64 guys at the running back position. So I would say if you're in that scenario where you have to start 2 running backs, I think you're in a position of power. I would look to go through and sell one of maybe Rachaad White, right? And go get a wide receiver there that we like for the long term, especially if you're a contending team. It's just very dependent. If you're in a league where you only have to start 1 running back, then yeah, let's go ahead and let's sell Jacobs. But we have the team at 2 going Burrow. Mark Ward takes Justin Herbert to pair up with Mike Williams. Obviously, can't blame him for doing that. He gets Mike Williams at a really strong value here at pick 46. Mark Ward says, let's get to 350 likes and we'll have another draft. Yes, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like in this live stream. If we hit 350, we'll fire up another draft after this one. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft after this, Underdog Fantasy, find the link in the live chat, find it in the description. We're drafting here every single day until the season starts. Robbie coming out with the donation, thank you, says, will Breece Hall have a breakout sophomore year like Taylor and other running backs? If so, why is he be taking in the 3rd instead of the 1st or 2nd? I think this is a great question because I've been drafting a lot of Breece Hall in the 3rd. Specifically in this draft, like we said, we pivoted over and instead we went through and we took Metcalf for the reason being is you had Breece Hall, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs all still available. So we thought there was a strong shot. We got one of those running backs on the way back around. Clearly, we were wrong, but nonetheless, if we were going to be looking at Hall, the reason he's going in round 3 is because there is a large crowd that says you cannot draft him because he's coming off a torn ACL. Where obviously history has not been kind for running backs 1 year removed from torn ACLs. J.K. Dobbins going here at pick 58, pretty damn good example of that. Now, it was a clean tear for Hall, which is why I am personally completely fine taking Breece Hall in round 3. But there's a large crowd that thinks, yeah, Breece Hall can have a breakout year. Yeah, Breece Hall can be like Jonathan Taylor's 2nd season. And there's also a large crowd that thinks, okay, I can't take a running back with a torn ACL. So that's why you're going to see the differing opinions, and that's why you're going to see him going in round 3 rather than round 1 or 2. Obviously, I mean, if Breece Hall wasn't dealing with the torn ACL, this would be someone that would be going around 1 or round 2, but it is what it is. Dameon Pierce goes 61, so that kind of sucks for us. I mean, at this point, we are going to be looking at most likely a wide receiver here, pick 66. We're not going to be able to go through and take a running back. Would have been really nice to get Jackson Smith and Jigba on the way back around at 66 to get the double stack there with DK Metcalf, JSN, targeting Geno Smith a little later on. Obviously, we can still do that if we decided to go forward and take Tyler Lockett at pick 65, but we'll see. We'll see what Liddish does here. This is the team that took Travis Etienne where we really didn't expect him to. They go Dallas Goedert, a selection that I really don't understand that much either. Prod on the clock. I'm assuming we see a wide receiver pick. Maybe Hollywood Brown, maybe Tyler Lockett. They don't really have a reason to take Lawrence. I mean, they don't have Etienne. They don't have Kirk. They don't have Ridley. Unless they really want to target Evan Ingram, Zay Jones a little later on. They go Hollywood. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Kyle Pitts. We'll have a very unique team here, to say the least. I mean, we will not draft another tight end through the rest of this. I like Kyle Pitts' price point in general. I like what this does from a roster construction standpoint. We're only going to have to draft 2 of these options. Now, we'll see what happens. Super interesting team, though, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Now, hopefully, we have a bunch of wide receivers going, and we have some running backs making it to us at a value. Eric wanted us to go ahead and take Tyler Lockett. I think the majority of people would take Tyler Lockett there to get him paired up with DK Metcalf and then target Geno Smith on the way back around. Try to come up with a little more of a unique build. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Hunter says, do I just join a draft at the same time as you? Yeah, so make sure you have the bell hit next to the subscribe button. That way you're able to come out as soon as we fire up these live streams. As we get closer to the season, we'll do more private drafts. But in general, I just really have a ton of fun in these overall tournaments where we're able to think about the rest of the field, what they're doing, how we should be constructing our team with that in mind. Because if you're getting in like the private drafts, I mean, I don't want to say easy, but there aren't too many variables to think about. So I have a lot more fun if we're going to do these drafts every single day, going through and drafting a team where it's in that large field tournament where we have the chance of turning $5 into 150,000, of course. And I mean, y'all know last year we won a tournament for 100,000. We won another tournament for 20,000. We got 16th place in Best Ball Mania for 10,000. We ended up winning 150K. And what's really cool is we did a lot of that on the live stream as well. So we're going to be able to look back and recap some of those. Now, Swift goes pick 76. Obviously, Darren Waller not in play for us as we already have George Kittle and Kyle Pitts. So essentially just remove Darren Waller here. Antler Eyes, happy to see you out here, my friend. Happy to see it. It says, mowing the lawn with a cold beverage and taking notes. That's one thing that I know most people don't like, but I do like mowing. I don't know why, but even when I was younger, I never really... A guy would act like, oh, my parents are making me mow the lawn. So I'd be like, oh, I don't like doing this specifically because I didn't want to have to come in for mowing the lawn for 2 hours and then them tell me to go do the dishes. I'd rather be like, hey, I just mowed the lawn for y'all. Can y'all not have my brother do the dishes? You know? So never admitted that I liked it, but I don't know. I mean, going through, putting some headphones on, listening to like a podcast, mowing the lawn, I like it. I do. But Andrew knows what's going down. Trey Lance stack incoming. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Akers 79. Would have been interesting to have Lawrence make it to us at 79. We would have been put in a very difficult spot saying, okay, yeah, we can go through. We can have a very unique build and take Lawrence here. Lawrence would be a no-brainer selection if you could take Evan Ingram on the way back around, like I'm sure that F. Homer is going to be on the lookout for. But the reason that we would have had a difficult time is because when we already take George Kittle as well as Kyle Pitts, there, it's not like we can be in an easy spot to go ahead and take Evan Ingram on the way back around at 90. Okay. Obi says, it'd be cool to find the stream where you drafted your 100,000 team. I already know which stream it is, my friend, and we're going to go through and we're going to make a lot of content around it as we get closer to the season. I just want to be closer to the season. That way, like, we have some more casual people in here just because, I mean, that video is going to do very well. At least I think it is. If it flops, it will be a little disappointing. But I'm assuming if we can go through and like recap and title a video like I won $100,000 with this fantasy football draft, it'll do well. Okay, so Quentin Johnston goes 88. I would have really liked having Quentin Johnston to pair up with Keenan Allen here. See what Prod decides to do. Go Zay Flowers. Okay, good. We are going to get Javonte Williams. Really wanted Javonte Williams with this team. With Javonte, very similar to Breece Hall, right? Where you can sit here and go, oh, okay, well, we just simply can't take a running back that's going to miss the beginning of the season. I mean, why the hell would you ever draft him in the first place? And on the other end, you could have people going, oh, okay, well, if Javonte Williams is healthy, Javonte Williams should be going up there and he should be selected in the same range as Kenneth Walker at the 4-5 turn. In reality, you don't really know what to expect with Javonte Williams' health this next season. We can assume that Javonte Williams will miss some time here. But at the same time, I mean, it kind of is what it is, right? We're getting him at pick 90 for a reason. He's going in between Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman for a reason. It is the injury. We're trying to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17 for the large field tournament. Very interesting to see this team here have Lawrence at 78. I guess actually they had Calvin Ridley at 30. So if they have Calvin Ridley at 30, they don't have to go through and take Evan Ingram. If they really like the Bateman value, they can go ahead and they can take Rashad Bateman. I didn't realize that they were the team that took Calvin Ridley that got Trevor Lawrence there. Croc Monster says, is Javonte missing time? I think the expectation is that Javonte Williams probably misses the beginning of the season or is extremely limited at the beginning of the year, which is why he's going at pick 90, right? I mean, if he was fully healthy, Javonte Williams would be going probably around the Kenneth Walker range. Okay, let's swing this back around. Brian Robinson off the board. Alvin Kamara goes. Josh says, your thoughts on taking Hall over Henry and Jacobs? I think it's very dependent on the league that you're playing in, with the assumption that maybe Breece Hall starts a little slower but finishes strong and has a high ceiling in weeks 15, 16, 17. I think if you're in an underdog tournament that has a regular season prize, there I would be hesitant to take Breece Hall over those guys, strictly being that Breece Hall at the end of the day may not score as many points at the beginning of the season. However, if you're in an underdog tournament where it all comes down to the fantasy football playoff tournament, weeks 15, 16, 17, there, I think you could be completely fine going in that direction. We'll try to have a little bit of a unique pick here. We'll go ahead. We'll take Michael Thomas. I mean, it is what it is. Pick 103. I mean, one of the last wide receivers in this tier. I mean, if you're looking at the ADP list right now, I mean, yeah, clearly there are no other wide receivers outside of maybe an Odell Beckham Jr. here. So nice to take someone kind of at the end of this tier. About 10 picks past ADP, obviously an incredibly low floor, but hopefully has a respectable ceiling. So, I mean, not someone that I've been drafting a lot generally because he goes in round 8, but I guess if we're going to get him in round 9, we can go ahead and we can take him once or twice. So wide receivers so far in this draft, we have Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas. Tight end, we have Kittle, Kyle Pitts. Running back, we have Cam Akers, Javonte Williams. So I do not like this team. I want to be on record. I do not like it. I think we should have just stuck with our initial plan. We shouldn't have tried to get cute. We should have just taken Breece Hall at pick 31. I was surprised to see Liddish decide to go through and take like Travis Etienne here. I thought we were going to get one of Gibbs, Etienne, or Najee making it back to us with that Keenan Allen selection. And I thought I'd rather have the combination of like DK Metcalf, Travis Etienne than Keenan Allen, Breece Hall. But yeah, I think we were wrong with that assumption. And I think this team would have been much better off if we would have gone through and instead just drafted our guy and just drafted Breece Hall there in the third. Okay, so let's swing this back around. Now you have Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott going. So Dak Prescott goes to this team that's just super interesting. I don't know how many underdog drafts this team's been in. I mean, we are 10 rounds deep. They have Chris Godwin, Quentin Johnston at wide receiver. They have an unstacked Lamar, which is completely fine, but they also have an unstacked Dak. This team that takes Daniel Jones doesn't have any Giants, but I mean, you can find Giants later on at a cheap price, so it's just completely fine. Hayes Ideas says, Liddish robbed me of Dak, 100%. I don't know why they took Dak. They robbed me of Travis Etienne as well, my friend. So it is what it is. Jeep Guy says, we're going to go Geno and Lance. We have a couple different options of what we can be looking at here, my friend. So we'll see what happens. Connor says, how many likes for another draft? We hit 350 likes. We'll fire up another draft. I really thought we were going to get Tua here. I mean, this is something that we've done over and over and over again. And in the majority of drafts, it actually does work out. And of course, with this being a tournament contest, we are trying to create a unique build. But if you are the Jalen Waddle team here, right, and you were looking at Tua falling to the middle of the 9th round, but the Tyreek Hill team over here that had Tyreek Hill on this side of us at 6, they decided to pass on Tua. Usually you will get Tua making it back around to you in round 10, or at least it happens a lot, right? So we go through, we roll the dice to see if we can get Tua at pick 114. Clearly it does not work out. I mean, Geno Smith was our next target, but Hayes ID also had Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, I mean, we are just in a weird spot here. Alex says, are we doing another puppy after this? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will. Scorp says this Liddish guy is really screwing up the board. I mean, it is what it is. He goes Odell Beckham Jr. here, which does make sense. You get him paired up with Lamar. He definitely needed another wide receiver. Okay, Prod goes Antonio Gibson. Is this one of our first picks where we go Samaje? Rodgers doesn't do anything for us. We can't take Conklin later on. We wouldn't. We didn't take Garrett Wilson. We didn't take Breece Hall. Devon Achane's someone I don't like. I don't like P. Ryan either, but at least we can make the argument, okay, he has an ADP of 107. We take him here at 114. Maybe it leads to a little bit more of a unique build. I don't know. Let me see how many drafts I've taken Samaje P. Ryan. Maybe this can be our team where we bet that the Denver Broncos, for whatever reason, I mean, are going back to Sean Payton with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. Maybe, just maybe. Of course, it's an absolute long shot, but let me see how many drafts I've taken Samaje. I hate this draft, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Let's pull this up. Okay. We have taken Samaje Perine in a total of, it says 0% of leagues on Underdog, but it's because I've drafted over 100 teams and I've only taken them on one. So far it says 0%. After this draft, I will have taken Samaje Perine in 1% of my drafts. But I think if we are going to take him, if we're going to try to get a little bit of a balanced exposure, it probably makes sense to do so. 114, pair him up with Javonte behind ADP where we desperately need a running back. So, I don't know. Jonathan Mingo goes pick 120. Rondell Moore, 119. Rondell Moore is just so much freaking higher than whenever you had Hopkins on the team, which is funny because obviously, I mean, even when Hopkins was on the team, a lot of people were expecting that DeAndre Hopkins was going to be moved, that DeAndre Hopkins would be elsewhere this next season. So it's funny that it took it to actually happen before you saw the change in ADP for Rondell Moore. And before, I mean, now, hell, he's going here, pick 119. Previous to that, I mean, he has an ADP now of 151. His ADP used to even be later. I mean, 119 is definitely too rich for Rondell Moore. But, I mean, I'm telling you now, this is a player that's skyrocketing in ADP. I see it in almost every single draft. Okay. Elijah Mitchell goes 123. Dalton Schultz, 124. Kincaid's not in play for us. Obviously, we're just looking at quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Quarterback, Jared Goff, best available. We don't have any Lions. We don't have the shot to take any Lions. I generally am not drafting Sam Laporta, and I'm definitely not drafting Sam Laporta on this team. Okay, Devon Achane goes, so we're going to go ahead. We'll grab Rashad Penny. I know some people wanted us to go Rashad Penny in the last round. Penny, also another player that I have not taken much of, but we just so desperately need a running back. He falls significantly after ADP. Very similar like the Samaje Perine selection. It's more about just trying to build a unique team here while someone fits the roster construction that we need in general. Rashad Penny, I had in 5% of drafts before this. It probably bumps up to about 6% of drafts for Rashad Penny now. Getting him at 127, I mean, is fine when he has an ADP of like 113, right? Okay. Let's move this down. David says, Mason, what's up, bro? I'm looking to be a part of the fantasy football community. How active are you guys in the Discord? I want to subscribe. Oh, thank you so much, my man. We have like 11,000 people in our Discord. I mean, you can find the link to the Discord on flockfantasy.com at the very top. There's obviously paid sections and non-paid sections. Personally, with what I do in the Discord, I answer questions when people ask them directly. If it's a simple question, I have the time. I dive in and write paragraph responses to people. And what I do primarily in the Discord is I have a couple different sections, one with dynasty trades. That way I can go through and grab people's dynasty trades and highlight them on videos. And then I also have a roster submission section. So when you sign up for flockfantasy.com, I mean, everybody gets a team that they're able to submit in the roster submission section. And then I go through and I break down your roster in a podcast and send it to you personally, my friend. So, I mean, I'd say there are a lot of other people that are very active in the Discord, though. I mean, if you send out like a poll or a question in the Discord, you are going to get answers for damn sure. Okay. Mark Ward says, smash that like. Yes, let's get this bad boy to 350 likes. Now, we have a couple tight ends going off. Obviously, does help us here. Let's swing this back around. Russ would be a funny pick. I mean, we have the running backs in Denver. Obviously, we don't have the pass catchers. I don't want to take Russ and then also look for Patrick or Marvin Mims later on. I don't want 4 Denver Broncos on my team. So if we're looking at this build, we're definitely going to take 3 quarterbacks when we wait this late, right? You have Gallup, Adam Thielen, both going 134, 135. So it looks like we're going to get a running back here, whether that's Jamal or Jarrett McKinnon. Spam the chat right now. I'm going to go whichever way y'all want. I don't really like either one of these running backs, but we need a running back. Both of them fall much further than ADP. Spam the chat with whatever y'all want, we're going to get. Do you want Jamal Williams or do you want Jarrett McKinnon? Mark says Jamal. Jamal. McKinnon. Okay, so it looks like most people are wanting Jamal Williams. We'll go ahead and we'll take Jamal Williams here, pick 138. So this is a very interesting team. I will say that. I mean, minimum, we have a starting running back, right? If you're looking at what we have with the Denver Broncos backfields. And maybe if you were going to go through and take 2 running backs in the same backfield, monopolize every single touch, this would be where it could possibly make sense, right? Where, I mean, we are sitting with a massive hole at running back where we kind of need to have a high floor. So wide receiver, we're elite. We have Diggs, Waddle, Metcalf, Keenan, Michael Thomas. Tight end, we're elite. We have Kittle, Kyle Pitts. Running back, we're just trying to get as many touches in here as possible. So maybe we have the startable guy each and every week with Javonte and P. Ryan, one of those options. And then between Akers, Penny, Jamal, and then the next running back that we take, they just kind of go through and they just platoon. And every once in a while, we'll see a spike week from one of those random guys. So we'll see. Miller, Jarrett McKinnon both go off the board. So at this point, what we're really wanting is we are wanting to see quarterbacks falling to us, right? That is what we need. We need quarterback. We have not taken a single one of these guys. Derek Carr could be in play for us in round 13. I mean, we do have Michael Thomas. We do have Jamal Williams as well. Obviously, Jamal's not a big-time pass catcher, but maybe we make that bet saying, okay, well, Taysom Hill's not going to be involved at all this season, so you don't have to worry about Taysom Hill vulturing any touchdowns at the goal line. And then maybe that way you could have a Jamal Williams hit and at the same time Derek Carr hit as well. Dr. Bruh says, such a strange draft today. Yes, a very strange draft. Prod says, what do you think of my team, Mason? Let's go ahead and let's dive into this for Prod. Okay, so here you have A.J. Brown, Michael Pittman, Hollywood, Zay Flowers, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, a wide receiver. I like pairing up Sky Moore and Rashee Rice here. I think both these guys are past ADP, where you're essentially making the bet saying, okay, DeAndre Hopkins does not go to Kansas City, and we get some value with these guys. I mean, running back, we have Chubb, Jahmyr Gibbs, Antonio Gibson. I think it's a strong running back room. We have Andrews and Joker. I like this team, my friend. I really do. I mean, obviously the picks at the top were kind of standard. I mean, you had a lot of guys out of value. I think the interesting case is you pair up Watson and Njoku. I think another interesting thing is looking at this combo of the secondary wide receivers that you have in Kansas City. Go through and make some unique bets here. Like, say Travis Kelce gets injured. All of a sudden, this team, if you have both Sky Moore and Rashee Rice, is just going bananas, right? I mean, if we could go through and in every draft pair up Sky Moore and Rashee Rice, I would love it. If we could pair those guys up in every draft, I would be ecstatic. Okay, so Derek Carr, like we discussed, definitely in play. If we were looking at Jordan Love, we could take Jordan Love and then on the way back around, take Jaden Reed. Running back, we could go Tank Bigsby. Market Word decides to go Roshan here. I do want to go look at Market Word's draft in a little bit. This is the team where he got Jefferson and Olave paired together, which will very, very rarely happen. Okay, so Komet goes. Great for us, obviously, when we're not taking another tight end. This team would be the team that possibly we worry about taking Derek Carr. I mean, they have no Saints. They also have Patrick Mahomes, but they only had one quarterback. This team has Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Richardson, so they're not going Carr. So we'll go ahead. We'll take Derek Carr here. We'll pair him up. Maybe, just maybe, if Michael Thomas is able to stay healthy and Michael Thomas is able to be a top 24 wide receiver this next season, this could be a team that does something. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Adam says, I've gotten the 7 to 10 pick in like 80% of my drafts. I am so over it. Oh, that is brutal, my man. That is brutal. I mean, I personally this year definitely prefer, especially in these underdog drafts, having that early first. I feel like having the early first and being able to get Jefferson, Chase, or Tyreek just gives you a significant advantage out the gate from a roster construction standpoint. Okay. Let's move this down. We have Deontay Foreman going 153. Donovan Peoples-Jones 152. Irv Smith Jr. off the board. Good for us. Adam says he has 3% Jamar and 0% Jefferson. Oh, that is brutal. Let me pull up how much Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson I have. I take them 1 and 2. So if I were to go through and do like 1,000 drafts, I should have about 9 to 10% of both players, because every once in a while you'll be in a draft where you're at like 3 or you're at 4, and then someone does something crazy where they take Tyreek Hill ahead of one of those guys. They take Cooper Kupp ahead of those guys. So if you take Jefferson 1 and 2 and you're in like 1,000 drafts, and every pick is obviously where you select is obviously random, you should have them like 9 to 10%. I have Jefferson 10%. I have Chase 7%. So combined, I have them in 17% of drafts, which is right in line with what you'd assume the average should be. But hopefully we can get them in a little bit more than that. Okay. But real quick, we are about 100 likes away from hitting 350 likes on this live stream and firing up another draft after this one. So if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, help us get to 350. I'd rather honestly bail from this draft and hop into a new one sooner rather than later. Okay, so Prod on the clock. Only has one quarterback. Could definitely go Kyler Murray here. I mean, I think Kyler Murray would be a very interesting selection. Pair up Kyler, yeah, which he does, with Hollywood Brown. Okay, we don't really have a big reason to go ahead and take Stafford. I mean, the running backs in this range, I don't really care about. I guess we can go ahead and we can just grab a wide receiver. We're going to take Van Jefferson over Marquez Valdes-Scantling. We're going to do this for a couple different reasons. One being is I would rather have Marquez Valdes-Scantling in best ball if we were guaranteed that DeAndre Hopkins was not going to Kansas City. But right now, as it's up in the air where DeAndre Hopkins could be a Chief by the end of the week, I mean, it's probably smart if these guys are the same ADP for this time of the year to go through and take Van Jefferson. And then if you end up having a different landing spot than the Chiefs for DeAndre Hopkins, then at that point, we could go ahead and at that point, we could pivot over and start taking Marquez Valdes-Scantling over Van Jefferson. And then also another reason we're doing this is we still need quarterbacks. There's a chance that we end up getting Matthew Stafford making it to us in round 15. So at that point, if we take Van Jefferson at 162, we would have an excuse on why we'd be able to take Matthew Stafford there. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Jackson says, if the Lions don't win their division, then who will? My friend, if you have gone through and asked this question over the past 50 years, you would have. Historically speaking, this is a very bad question. If I had to bet on who wins the division between the Lions, and usually sports books, they know the best. They know more than anybody else, and usually you're never going to make a decent bet against the sports book. But if I could get even money or plus money that either the Vikings or Packers win the division, I would take that. Like if someone was like, okay, yeah, I really think it's either the Lions or the Bears, and I could have either the Vikings or the Packers, I think it is much more likely that either the Vikings or the Packers take the division than the Lions or the Bears, where I know the vast majority of people, right, do think it's going to be the Lions. Like, the Lions are a popular pick right now. Okay. Jeep Guy says Desmond Ridder, 18th round. I will definitely mix in Desmond Ridder with this team. You know, there may be someone else that we're looking to mix in as well, my friend. Coven says Packers are more likely to be last than first. Jackson says, I agree. I think the Vikings. I think the Packers finish with a better record than the Chicago Bears this next season. And I'm confident with that as well. Andrew says, how many likes are we at? I think we're about to hit 300. Let me see. We're at 289 likes. So we're about 60 likes away from firing up another draft after this. Okay, Stafford goes 172. So there goes our selection of Matthew Stafford. Generally, I'm not looking to have 4 players from the same offense. I'm not looking to triple stack these guys. So if Shaheed were to make it to us, even if we have Derek Carr, I don't know how excited we are about it. Probably instead go ahead and take a wide receiver that I just like more in general. We'll go ahead and we'll take Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, Wan'Dale, someone that I just think is incredible value here. If you're getting him as like a wide receiver 7, wide receiver 8, just beautiful. Okay. Jackson says Vikings are plus 310 and Packers are plus 300. Ooh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Let me look this up. 2023 NFL win totals. Let's move this down. Kenny Pickett goes 177. Obviously, we're still on the lookout for some quarterbacks. So if we're looking at the lines for that division, right now you have the Packers at 7.5 wins. You have the Bears at 7.5 wins. You have the Vikings at 8.5 wins. And you have the Lions at 9.5 wins. So Vegas does think it's the Lions. Lance goes 183. So our quarterback target is not making it to us, which of course is extremely painful. We need to take 2 more quarterbacks, so 16, 17, and 1 more running back. We'll go ahead. We will reach on Leonard Fournette here. I am fine in these large field tournaments where we're looking for players that could swing one way or another in ADP. Like, there's definitely a chance that Leonard Fournette gives us nothing this next season and is a complete zero. But there's also a chance that Leonard Fournette goes to the Miami Dolphins, and by the time we get to September, he's going in the 8th, 9th round of these drafts. Personally, that's what I'm looking for in the very late rounds in these drafts. Sometimes it will work out, and sometimes it'll be the exact opposite, right? Like, full transparency, I drafted, and I don't want to admit this, but I drafted Will Fuller last year. Yes, I was that guy. I was taking Will Fuller in these drafts at the very end, thinking, okay, well, if he does sign somewhere, then all of a sudden you could see him rise dramatically in ADP. And if this is a $5 buy-in with $150,000 for first place, it's going to be the player that I'm looking to take. But you also draft him knowing very well that he can be a literal zero. So it's kind of the same thing with Leonard Fournette, kind of the same thing with Kareem Hunt. If you were just in like a regular 12-team private draft, maybe you don't overthink it. Maybe you just take Kenneth Gainwell, someone that you know the situation that he is in. But I don't know. Now let's see. Gesicki goes 191. And we are going to be taking 2 quarterbacks here at the end. So let's go ahead and let's figure this out together. So quarterbacks we can be looking at. Brock Purdy, we have George Kittle. CJ Stroud, we have no Texans. Desmond Ridder, we have Kyle Pitts. I think that's it. Yeah, I think these are going to be the guys that we're looking at in this order. Andrew says 30 more likes. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Mean Muggin says got to take Purdy. We may have to, my friend. We may have to. Tank says hop in another one, Mason. I want to join today. Yes, sir. I'm assuming in 30 likes we are hitting another one. I'm assuming that, we're 19 likes away now. I'm assuming we're going to hit 19 more likes. We'll go ahead. We'll take Brock Purdy. Now, the reason we take Purdy here, right, is there's a chance. And obviously it's a small chance, right? But that Andy Reid looks at his offense and goes, you know what? Yeah, we won the Super Bowl last year. But at the end of the day, I think we are not hitting our full ceiling. And if we want to repeat, we may need an upgrade at the quarterback position. And in that instance, Andy Reid goes through and trades for Trey Lance. And then in only that instance, can you see Brock Purdy be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, where then at that point, we do have him stacked up with George Kittle. So just in case the Chiefs go through and trade for Trey Lance, the Eagles go through and trade for Trey Lance, I don't know, who else could? The Bills go through and trade for Trey Lance, the Chargers do it, and then somehow, some way, Brock Purdy is able to take this starting job in San Francisco. I'd assume that's the only way, but we will have him paired up with George Kittle. Okay. Robbie says, take Heineke with your last pick. I'd rather take Ritter, my friend. I've actually taken a decent amount of Ritter. Like, it seems like if I punt and I need a QB3, Desmond Ritter is always the guy I'm going with, just because he has a little bit of a rushing ceiling. And on top of this, he has London, he has Pitts. We are 4 likes from hitting 350 likes in this live stream. And we have about 30 seconds to do so. Do not be mad at me if 500 people are watching this and we don't hit 350 likes and we cut the stream here at the end of this draft. So if you want to see another one, go down there, hit that like button. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Link in the live chat, link in the description. Use promo code FLOCK. With promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match. And on top of that, with promo code FLOCK, you'll get a free trial to flockfantasy.com, my 2023 fantasy football rankings, and all of our premium content. But, okay, let's move this down. Okay, we have Fantasy Picks as I was the 350th like. You're welcome, Flockers. Okay, real quick, I want to show y'all something before we get into this next draft, because I know a lot of y'all weren't here at the very beginning. I know we were talking about this in the live stream yesterday, but remember Underdog yesterday had it set up where you could go through and vote on either getting a 100x pick'em or a free bet pick'em. Apparently more people voted for the 100x pick'em. So go to your pick'em right now and make sure you're taking advantage of this. You know, I don't talk NBA. You know, I stay in my lane, but specifically whenever there's something that you can't pass up on, you got to go do it. I took 2 random lowers. I have no idea. If you want to just cheer with me, then you can go ahead and take the same thing. Take whatever you want, but just make sure that you include Jokic. That way you could get up to the 100x pick'em. This is a 2-player parlay here where it's 5 to win 50. So just make sure you're taking advantage like the boosted odds they have on Underdog, or when they have those free bets. It's free money. You have to make sure you're taking advantage of it. And if you parlay 5 of them together, then you could go through and get the 100x. I just would rather go through and take the more of a for sure thing there, right? By only taking 2 of them. And okay, we already have 10% Justin Jefferson, and we are going to get maybe 11% Justin Jefferson now. We're going to go ahead and we will take Justin Jefferson at pick 1. Sadly, we're not Mark. We're not able to get Justin Jefferson at pick 3, but nonetheless, getting him at 1 is going to be just fine for us. Malik says, would you change your strategy if this was full PPR best ball? What's very funny, right, is if this was full PPR and not half PPR, then at that point, wide receivers would be more likely to hit your flex spot than they are in a half PPR format. And you would think wide receivers would be more valuable. But specifically because Underdog drafters have lost their minds, it's not necessarily that case where we're able to say, oh, wide receivers would go up. How much more can wide receivers realistically go up? So I don't know. Now, Prod back in this draft at 10. It looks like we have a lot of people that just missed our draft, but are in different ones. Be Humble Homie says he is in the second. Morgan there, pick 3. Mark says he's hoping we draft better than he did. I don't know. I mean, Jefferson Olave out the gate is hard to pass up. Maybe we get Olave. Maybe we get Olave on the way back around, which obviously would be very exciting. Okay, so let's. Chief Smoke says 111 in a different draft for 3 days straight. I hate it. I'm sorry to hear it, my man. I'm sorry to hear that. Now, Fantasy Picks says winning Best Ball Mania last 2 years had a running back in the flex of the winning lineup. And this is why over the past few years, people have made fun of us for taking oh my, did y'all see that? This may be a crazy draft. Mo crazy out here. Takes Josh Allen at pick 2. Oh my gosh. Scorp says, bro thought it was super flex. TT Warrior says, Mo might be Josh Allen himself. Even if Mo was Josh Allen himself, I'm sure you would go Stephon Diggs, pick 2, thinking that Josh Allen would make it back around at pick 23. Hybrid says, Mo Crazy is a good name. Definitely a good name. Crazy, crazy. Gregory says, LOL, not a bad pick. We'll see what happens. I mean, the team at 3 has to be pretty damn excited. Cito says, this draft is getting canceled and returned for sure. If you see like 1 or 2 crazy picks like this, no, but just in case y'all don't know. So obviously if it's like a large field tournament like this, Underdog has to keep like the game integrity. It's very similar to like poker tournaments, right? Where like you can't get in and then play with the buddy and go through and like collude against. So if Underdog like flags that happens, then the draft is canceled and everybody in it is refunded. So if this team goes through and like takes 10 quarterbacks in a row or whatever, obviously Underdog's going to flag it, refund everybody in it, because it's not going to be able to include this team in the overall tournament and lose the game integrity. So we'll see if this team's going to ruin this draft, and maybe we'll have to hop in a second one. But maybe they're just going through and maybe they're just getting that elite level quarterback. But if you see them go like Mahomes and and Jalen Hurts at 23 and 26, we know that they're just trolling and the draft's going to get refunded and they'll probably get banned from Underdog. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Mark says you may get Olave now with Jefferson. How Olave goes 14 here in this draft, my man. So I was saying, it's crazy that you were able to get Olave making it to you with the Jefferson build. So in theory, we should be looking at an elite quarterback here. Christian Watson goes 20. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Marty says, why would he get banned for that? He would never get banned for like taking Josh Allen at 2, right? And going through and taking a weird pick. He would get banned if he specifically went through and, okay, we're going to take Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. The reason he would get banned is if he went through and he specifically ruined the draft and tried to like collude with other people, where he went through and took Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes. If he went through and took only quarterbacks where you could tell it was misintent and he was trying to specifically ruin the draft tournament, at least I'm assuming, of course, I'm assuming. Dane, happy to see you out here, my man. Hope you're doing well. Happy to see you. But yeah, I mean, we get really lucky in this draft. It looks like, does he auto draft Mahomes here? This draft is still most likely very valid unless we see him go through and take like more quarterbacks there in the 4th and 5th round. Where this draft's a little crazy, but I'm excited about it. There you have the Christian Watson team taking Justin Fields, and that's a team with a badge as well. That's a team that's done over 1,000 of these Underdog drafts. And if you get a little piece of paper out with a pencil and you do some napkin math, I mean, hell, if you have, say, 1,000 drafts under your belt and the cheapest draft on Underdog's $3. At minimum, that guy spent $3,000. In reality, he's probably in some drafts that are much higher stakes than that as well, where he's probably closer to like 10,000. So very interesting to see the CMC, Christian Watson, Justin Fields start out the gate. This is going to be a wild draft, ladies and gentlemen. So we take Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith as super easy picks to make there at the turn. We get the stack. We get a quarterback that could potentially be the QB1 overall. And what's really nice is you may see the rest of these quarterbacks slide up the board, specifically because that team took Allen and Mahomes. So there's one fewer elite level quarterback to go around. Yeah, Adam says making a unique build, I guess. The issue, right, if you're going through and say you're making a quote-unquote unique build, if you're that team at 5. And then it's making unique builds is super important in underdog tournaments, of course. But if you're at 5, there will be other teams that have the combination of Christian McCaffrey, Christian Watson, and Justin Fields. You know, like you can take Christian Watson in round 3, and then you can take Justin Fields in round 4. But instead of going through and in round 4, you taking Kenneth Walker, you could take Nick Chubb in round 2. So there will be other teams in this tournament that have the combo of CMC, Christian Watson, and Justin Fields, but they'll have also Nick Chubb added on the roster, you know? So I don't know. Okay. Now let's move this down. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen going there at pick 36, 37. Be surprised if you have Justin Herbert making it back around. But we'll see. Help him says at this point, someone's going to take Curtis Samuel in the 4th. We'll see, my friend. We'll see. Obviously, I very much like our team. Okay. I've had to give you all this warning before, but I guess we're going to have to do it again. Giovanni says, my girlfriend says she thinks you like good scotch and cigars. Are you a drinker at all? Okay. It's a warning that I want everybody to take to heart, okay? Showing this live stream, showing me draft a fantasy football team to your girlfriend is a very dangerous and very risky move on your part. Like, to be completely honest, I'm not going to show a video to my girlfriend of Arnold Schwarzenegger out there flexing on a bodybuilding stage, right? That's just not something you do. It's like, okay, yeah, you don't need to see that. Okay. I don't know. You must have a lot of faith, my friend, to show your girlfriend a video of me drafting a fantasy football team. Is there anything that screams peak masculinity other than me drafting a fantasy football team on Underdog Fantasy? Like, I don't know, my man. If you have that kind of confidence, happy for you. But it is what it is. Yeah. Robert says, you've been warned. You have been warned. We're going to go ahead. We will take Devonta Smith, we'll take Drake London and Terry McLaurin at pick 48, 49. Not too much to discuss. I mean, what's interesting is Mo Crazy decides not to take a quarterback there. So it's nice to see that it looks like this draft's not going to get thrown out. I mean, if they were to go through and say they took Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence at the 4-5 turn, the draft would most likely be garbage. But here, I think this is very much a valid draft, or at least I really hope it is. And yeah, we're going to get London, McLaurin. I think we're going to have a good spot to take running back at the 6-7 turn. And yeah, we have a really strong team so far. Eric says, everyone hit a like so he does another draft. Yes. If we hit 600 likes on the live stream, we'll fire up another draft after this. The previous goal that we've had in years past was 550, but specifically because in years past, we started live streaming underdog drafts every single day. In around July, that's when we used to start drafting every day on the live stream. That is, of course, we were drafting every day at the gym. But now that we started in April, we're going to have to maybe raise the bar a little bit. So if we hit 600 likes, we will fire up a third draft. David says, I banned my girlfriend from watching you. LOL. Smart man. Okay. Now, Chris Godwin going off the board, pick 57. Jackson Smith-Njigba going off the board, pick 56. Pittman goes. So obviously we're wanting running backs to make it back to us, right? So it's nice seeing these wide receivers go. I'm more completely fine still going through and grabbing wide receiver. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have Jefferson, Smith, London, McLaurin, it's not like we're going overboard here. I mean, all these guys can pop into our starting lineup, I mean, the same week. So, I mean, we're in a good spot. Aiden says, ban my mom from watching you. You got to watch out. Good call. Good call, my man. I feel like that should almost be automatic. Now, okay, Deontay goes 60. George Pickens goes 61. So this team's taking a very unique approach where they're going through and specifically reaching to get those stacks, but at the same time, they're not worried about the value that they're doing it at. I mean, I've talked about in the past thinking that maybe taking Deontay Johnson and George Pickens at like the 6-7 turn is a decent idea if you get the opportunity to. Taking him at the 5-6 turn obviously is a much steeper price tag, but I mean, it kind of is what it is. Okay, let's swing this around. Mark says, where did Mahomes go last year in best ball drafts? Mahomes was actually my third most drafted player behind Josh Jacobs, who was going in the round 7 of these underdog drafts, and Jalen Waddle, who was going in round 4. We were getting Patrick Mahomes in round 5. He was my most drafted quarterback, my third most drafted player. Okay. Now, Dameon Pierce going off the board, pick 65. Obviously, it would have been really nice for us to have Dameon Pierce make it back around to us at the 6-12, but just unrealistic to think that's going to be able to happen. Okay. Tony says, what channels on Discord should I see as a Mother Flocker? You'll know if you are official Mother Flocker if you see the roster submissions channel. You have a Dynasty channel, Best Ball channel. There'll be a bunch of channels there. But once you send your Flock Fantasy username in the join here section of the Discord, just give the developers a little bit of time to be able to go through and link your accounts, my friend. The developers have to do it manually right now, so it just takes a couple days. Okay, Kyle Pitts goes 67. Pitts obviously in play for us, but I mean, it is what it is. Lockett goes 68. So if we take Addison, we would pair up Jordan Addison as well as Justin Jefferson together. This is DK Degen, who took Burrow to get the double stack with Chase and Higgins. Tony off the board, great for us. Gabe Davis off the board, great for us. Oh my. This is an exciting draft. This draft can win it. We're going to get Addison to pair up with Jefferson, and we're going to get Goddard to complete the double stack that we have with Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith there. So obviously, we are really wanting to see running backs make it back. We want to see wide receiver get drafted. But this is a strong start. I love this. Mark says thoughts on Hawkinson. I think Hawkinson's a fine pick where he goes. And would I rather have Hawkinson at like his ADP or Dallas Goedert at his ADP? Probably rather have Goddard. But, I mean, in a vacuum, I'd rather have Hawkinson. Obviously, it is always going to be dependent on price point, though. Oh. Misa says, honest opinion on the Mothership Comedy Club. Been multiple times, my friend. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Like, it is. I went again about 2 to 3 weeks ago with some friends, and I cannot shut up about it. If you have the chance to go, you have to. It's just so hard to get tickets. And if you ever have tickets and want to invite your boy, I'm down. Okay. Michael says, insane start. What the heck? I mean, hell, we're going to go through. We're going to crush this draft. This is the draft that wins us $150,000. We're winning this league. We're not only winning this league. We're winning this tournament. Okay. Chief says, due to my draft, just took Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith at 10 and 15. Definitely unique. I'll say that. But in our tournament, if they took Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith at 10 and 15, good freaking luck competing with us where we get Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, 24-25. So their next best player will probably be like Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, whereas we'll have Justin Jefferson. So good freaking luck, whoever did that. Okay. Nick says, I don't know, Mason, the puppies are kind of my thing. Yeah, if y'all don't know, I mean, I have to give him a shout out every time he's out here. Nick won, the puppy won last year for $75,000, which is crazy to think about. And I know we've talked about this before, but so y'all know I won $100,000 in the big dog tournament last year. I think Nick's win is more impressive. Let me do the math. So turning $5 into $75,000, let's divide this out. That is a 15,000x on your money. The $100,000 big dog I won, whereas the $250 buy-in is a 400x. So I think honestly winning the puppy is more impressive than winning the big dog, if we're going to be honest. And of course, if y'all want to get in our next draft, we're doing these literally every single day on the live stream until this season starts. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. Available in damn near every state. Here's a quick little map of where it's available. Yellow it is, gray it's not. And also, real quick, I know 99% of y'all are already on Underdog. Make sure you go and take advantage of the boosted pick'em that they have right now. Go and look at it and get up to 100x with 5 picks, or we just did a 2-pick parlay for a 10x. Troy says, how many bullets do you have in the Chow Chow so far? I only do the Chow Chow drafts on the live stream. So in general, how I do it is if I'm going to be drafting like at the gym just for fun, if I'm not drafting on the live stream, I try to be responsible with it. And I don't get into the high stakes drafts. Instead, like if I'm drafting at the gym, right, I'm going to get in a bunch of $5 drafts. I'll be in a bunch of puppy drafts. But if I'm going to do like a $50 a Chow Chow draft, I'm really only going to do it on the live stream. Like I can justify it if it's on the live stream. And I'm like, okay, Mason, yeah, it makes sense for us to go through and spend $50 on this. However, if it's just random, okay. We're taking Evan Ingram and done taking tight ends. We're taking Evan Ingram for sure. Do y'all think we can get away with trying to go quarterback and taking 7 running backs with this build? Okay, looks like people want Kamara. The Giga Zero RB is super fun. Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll take Alvin Kamara. I kind of wanted to go through, take Anthony Richardson, considering the fact that this team here has Allen and Mahomes, expecting that maybe we have a little bit of a quarterback run happen, but this team has been too good of a start to go through and try to mess it up, right? In my mind, it's too good of a team to mess up. Let's just take Evan Ingram at 96. Only draft 2 tight ends. Obviously, we're only drafting 2 quarterbacks, and we have Jalen Hurts. So we'll be able to go through and we'll be able to take minimum 6 RBs. But Robbie coming out with a donation. Again, thank you, my friend. So Startup Dynasty Superflex League with the 111, and we traded up for the 101. So far, we have Mahomes, Breeze, Pitts, Debo, Kittle, Godwin, Dotson, Dillon, Rodgers. How does it look? To be honest with you, my friend, I like the team, but I have no idea who the hell we took at 111. Assuming that we traded up from pick 11 to pick 1, and that was in the deal, I like it. But it seems like maybe we're a little bit light on the top if we had like the 101, 111, and 202. What was the deal for the 101? I like the team in general. I just want to make sure that we didn't like squander the picks at the late first, early second. So let me know. Please don't feel the need to donate to let me know. Just let me know in the chat. I mean, you're a moderator, so I should be able to see it easily. What was the deal that you got Patrick Mahomes with the 101 with? Okay. Daniel saying, how many likes for a third draft? If we had 600 likes, we'll fire up another draft after this one, my friend. Okay, traded the 111 and 402 for the 101. Love it. Love it, my friend. To get Mahomes, I think that is a very reasonable price. I mean, that's like going through and trading like Lamar Jackson and, say, Drake London for Patrick Mahomes in a 12-team Superflex Dynasty League. A great deal and great team. I just didn't want it to be like, oh, I traded my third round startup pick and then my 2024 first, my 2025 first, my 2026 first. And then I'm sitting there going, okay, well, if we have no future first and I don't really know who we took at 11, it's probably a bad team. But if that's the deal, I love it. Zay Jones goes 110. Samaje Perine goes 109. Lazard off the board. Okay. So Cousins obviously in play for us. I mean, we have Jefferson as well as Addison. Goff goes 112. Daniel Jones kind of in play for us just because I like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones goes 113, so never mind. Michael says, thanks for always curing my boredom, Mason. No, thank you for coming out and hanging out with me, my man. This live stream would be way less interesting and way more fun if I wasn't able to sit here and talk to y'all throughout the entire time. I've been being able to have this chat, being able to see all of y'all. I mean, definitely makes this way easier to show up and do every day. Gregory says, a great deal for him, not the poor guy who traded down to 11 for a fourth. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now, Darnell Mooney off the board, 116. So, Geno not really in play for us, right? Rodgers probably not in play. Geno goes 118. This team is Allen and Mahomes. Unless they are truly the craziest person on the planet, they probably don't go Cousins. So we're probably going to go ahead and get Cousins to get the double stack. And honestly, getting Cousins 14 picks past ADP at this point, double stack with Addison and Jefferson, I think a better pick than what we would have had otherwise if we would have gone Anthony Richardson in the last round. Okay, so I'll show you exactly what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is the order we're looking at. He goes Kyler. Very interesting, and especially now that he takes a third quarterback and he has Allen, Mahomes, and Kyler Murray, we definitely have to take another quarterback here. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Cousins as well as Antonio Gibson. Gibson does correlate with Terry McLaurin. This is just a beautiful team. This is a beautiful team. Let me go ahead and show this off. This is one of my favorite teams that we've drafted. We had another one like 2 days ago on the live stream that was super good. I just feel way more comfortable in these underdog drafts now. Now that I've done like 100 of these already, like I feel like I'm ready for those high stakes drafts as we get closer to the season. I mean, if we're looking at this, we are currently sitting at wide receiver with the combination of Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Jordan Addison. So we're elite at wide receiver. We have Jalen Hurts stacked up with the combination of Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. We have Kirk Cousins double stacked with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. We have two solid tight ends in Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram. We have at running back Alvin Kamara as well as Antonio Gibson. So obviously we are going to have to go through and we are going to have to build a ton around running back over the next few rounds when our only guys are Alvin Kamara as well as Antonio Gibson. But Sammy says, when are the slow draft videos recaps coming out? Yeah, so if y'all don't know, did a couple high stakes drafts, got in a $100 draft on Underdog and got in a $500 draft on Underdog. The Bulldog $500 draft should be finishing any day now. So probably get a video out about that this week. But Caliber coming out. Happy to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. The second place last year traded Chubb, Waller, Bateman, Baker, and the 211 for Lamb and Dameon Pierce in a 12-team league. I mean, in a dynasty format, this is literally laughable. Like, I would rather have CeeDee Lamb over Chubb, Waller, Bateman, and Baker in a dynasty format. That is incredible. And the fact that you get Dameon Pierce for free is laughable. 12-team Superflex current lineup is Allen, Hall, Pierce, Lamb, Higgins, Olave. Second-year tight end in Tennessee, Hollywood, Dotson, and Love. Love it, my friend. I think it's a great team. I think it's a great deal. And honestly, I think that you probably should have made it even if you didn't get Dameon Pierce on. But the fact that you got Dameon Pierce is crazy. Okay. Now we have the second-year tight end off the board. So what we are wanting at this point is we are wanting to see quarterbacks and tight ends get drafted. We have Dallas Goedert and Evan Ingram. We have Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins. So we are wanting to see people go through and take some quarterbacks, take some tight ends. Now Gallup goes 130. Elijah Mitchell, I would have cried if he would have made it back to us. Goes off the board. Okay, so let's just look at this. When we have Kamara, we could take one of the running backs between Jamal Williams or Kondre Miller. We definitely couldn't take both guys. This team's very interesting here at the end. Let me go through and show this team. I don't think it's good. Let me be on record saying that, but I think it's extremely interesting. In general, I think people try to get cute and they try to go through and say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take 6 wide receivers in a row, then 6 running backs in a row. Like, it looks really cool, but in reality, I don't know how good it is. Wide receiver out the gate, they go ahead and they take Lamb, Adams, then they pair up Keenan, Mike Williams on the turn. Then they pair up Deontay Johnson, George Pickens on the turn. And then they have David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, A.J. Dillon, Samaje Perine, Jamal Williams, as well as Tank Bigsby. So, very interesting team at 12. Obviously, the complete opposite side of the draft board from us. Let's move this down. Okay, Mingo falling. You've seen Jonathan Mingo falling in ADP consistently, which I feel decent about considering the fact that whenever these contests opened up, we call him one of the most overrated players in these drafts. So you see Thielen go ahead of him at this point. Dalton Schultz off the board. Mingo goes. So Russ not in play for us, obviously. We're just running back wide receiver. Miller off 141. I would have been excited to pair him up with Alvin Kamara. Collins 142. This team has Allen, Mahomes, and Kyler. So they are a complete wild card. They go Taysom. Hell yes. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Roshan and Jalen Warren. We need running backs. I don't really care about Alec Pierce. You know, I really don't like where Jalen Hyatt goes. So I think super easy picks to take those 2 guys there. Jeep Guy says, members only private live streams happening during the season. We'll probably, as we get closer to the start of the year, even before the season, have a few of these live streams where we turn the chat to members only. Because it is nice. Like, I feel like now it's kind of reasonable for me to go through and be able to read the live chat and keep up with everything as we draft. But once we get closer to the season, I mean, right now it's June 3rd. So obviously these live streams hopefully will get a lot bigger. And at that point, probably need to go ahead and flip it over to members only draft. And y'all know we do a lot of live streams during the year where it's, we just sit there and answer questions for like 3 to 4 hours. I think a majority of those, or at least a large section of those, will be members only. Okay, let's move this down. So we have some quarterbacks, tight ends going off the board. Good for us. Okay, now we have the tight ends going. Yeah, come on. We still need to add in a few more wide receivers to this team. Obviously, we have a ton of wide receiver talent at the very top. Don't have a lot of depth. Honestly, it's kind of how I like it in Underdog this year. Laporta goes 153. Great for us. Sam Laporta is not someone I draft, period. Definitely not on the team where we're done drafting tight ends. How bad would it be, right, if with this build in particular, we go through and we go 2-7-7-2. We take 2 quarterbacks with Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, 2 tight ends with Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram, 7 wide receivers, 5 of whom being Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Jordan Addison, and then 2 more guys, and 7 running backs with Kamara, Gibson, Roschon, Jalen Warren being the top 4. Honestly, I think this is maybe a 2-7-7-2 build. Historically speaking, over the past few years, that kind of build has not worked out on Underdog Fantasy. Like if you're looking at historical advance rates, if you were looking at teams that are able to make it to the championship week, no teams with 7 running backs are making it. So I usually say we are not doing that. But if it was ever going to work out, right? If it was ever going to be okay, this kind of roster may be that scenario. Algier goes 161. Tyler Algier would have been a great pick for us. Everett goes 162. Okay, good. Let's see these quarterbacks and tight ends go. Hell yes. Stafford off the board, 163. I'm assuming we don't see any more quarterbacks go. This team has Fields Love. This team has Lamar Russ. This team has Burrow Geno. This team obviously has Allen, Mahomes, Kyler. I mean, they're a complete wild card. You have no idea what they're doing. Wes says, honestly, I'd probably even thinking about 8 running backs, 6 wide receivers. I can say for a damn fact, that is not good. Say for a damn fact, we can't do that. 7-7 may be fine. It's going to depend on the guys that make it to us. We're going to go Singletary as well as Deonta Foreman. So maybe this is the team where we make the bet that this coaching staff does not like Khalil Herbert, and Khalil Herbert is not used this next season. Now, of course, in a lot of other drafts, I've taken Khalil Herbert. I actually probably have more Khalil Herbert than Deonta Foreman as well as Roschon Johnson, but I don't know. We will see. We'll see. Now let's smooth this down. Zeke goes 170. Jeff Wilson 171. And real quick, of course, if we hit 600 likes, we are going to go through and we are going to be jumping into another draft. So go down there, hit that like if you have not done so already. And if you want to get in our next draft with us, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy every single day till the season starts. Use promo code FLOCK and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And you will get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. Okay, let's move this down. So running back now, we have Kamara, Gibson, Roschon, Warren, Singletary, Deonta Foreman. It's not great, but Warren is in a clear backfield that only has 2 guys. Gibson in a clear backfield that only has 2 guys. Singletary in a clear backfield that only has 2 guys. Okay, Lance goes 172. Always pains me knowing that we're not drafting Trey Lance, but with this team, we can't really take Lance. Okay. Ferguson off the board. How early is that for Ferguson? Answer, really early. Team also took Kenny Pickett and Bryce Young. Yeah, I don't like what Forbes did here. I thought it was interesting earlier on. I don't like how it turned out, though. Gregory coming out trying to make an argument for Kupp over Chase. Big thing is Kupp's pushing 30 now. Obviously, Jamar Chase now going into year 3, stepping into his prime. Another thing is, and I almost tried moving Kupp ahead of Tyreek Hill, but the reason I didn't was specifically because if you were looking at Las Vegas win totals for this next season, right now Vegas sportsbooks actually have the Los Angeles Rams at 6.5 wins. So if they have them at 6.5 wins, in my mind, that tells us it's probably not going to be a good situation this next season. course, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I wanted to move Kupp over Tyreek, but I couldn't for that reason. Okay, Claypool goes 185. Chase Brown. A big reason why I'm honestly kind of fine with 7-7 here rather than 6-8. Because look at these freaking wide receivers. Like, is there a world where I sit here halfway through the year and go, oh my gosh, this team would have been great if I would have just added McCole Hardman as my wide receiver 8? If I would have just added freaking Chase Claypool as my wide receiver 8. In reality, probably not. Okay. We're just running back wide receiver with the preference of receiver. We will take a running back here. I'll admit it. We're taking a running back. Hodgins goes. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Leonard Fournette as one of our guys. Take Robert Woods as well. I mean, I've been drafting a decent amount of Robert Woods. Kind of is what it is. Let me show this team off. Probably going to cut the live stream here. It looks like we have no shot hitting 600 likes. We are just going to go ahead and take whatever the best wide receiver available is in the final round. Really interesting, really unique team. I don't necessarily know what to think of it, but yeah, it's very, very interesting. But again, thank you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us. Really do appreciate y'all spending your fine Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoon, depending on where you're living, with us with this live stream. Of course, we'll be live again tomorrow. Actually, I'm about to drop a Dynasty video right now. So here's what we're going to do. Maybe I can, let's see if it's already uploaded to the channel. Maybe we can premiere this with the Dynasty channel. I can send y'all a link to it if you would like to check it out. Let me see. Okay, Dynasty. Nope, that video is not up. Never mind. It'll be out later today. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day and really hope that I get to see you with the live stream tomorrow.